Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to the farm. Today, I'm going to go pick up a new compressor. We bought this old Ingersoll Rand compressor from Lowe's or somebody about 10-12 years ago, and I've gotten a lot of use out of it. We had to replace the belts a couple of times, and then some dirt daubers decided to go and build a nest inside the electric motor, and it burned it up. So we've got a burnt up motor, halfway decent compressor, and everything else works fine. Oh yeah, the pressure switch went out. That's one of the reasons why the motor burnt up, is because it would not shut off when it got to pressure. So, oops. I left it on out here and I heard it going. Wasn't sure what it was. I thought it was somebody driving by on the road. Come back by a day later, and I still hear the same sound, and sure enough, this thing had been running for several days out here in the barn all by itself. And yeah, then after that we let it sit for a while. Next time I tried to turn it on, the dirt daubers had gone to town, and yeah, that's all history. So I've got a 80-gallon compressor with 18 to 18 and a half CFM that comes out of here, which, if you know anything about compressors, is plenty enough for light spray painting and sandblasting work, because you'll have enough air to keep everything going. You're not going to run out of air in the middle of a job. Well, since that thing crapped out, I still had to have a compressor, but I had this big tank. Let me show you what I was filling it with. This right here is a little rigid pancake compressor. It's made for using out on a job site with like stuff like roof nailers and stuff like that. Things that don't require an awful lot of air but need compressed air. We went and hooked this thing up to that big 80-gallon tank, and believe me, it takes a good long while to come up to pressure. This is yeah, it worked for filling tires, but as far as using air tools, forget it. So I needed to do something different. So I went to Lowe's, because that's where I bought this originally, and decided to repair it. I got in touch with Ingersoll Rand, and they're more than happy to sell me parts to repair this. But in order to repair this, it's going to cost about $800 in parts and shipping. As I remember, I paid $1,300 for this compressor way back when. And I went shopping on Lowe's website, and they don't even sell big compressors anymore. I don't know why, but they don't. And so I went looking elsewhere. Looked at Harbor Freight, didn't like what I found. You know, I needed something at least this large of capacity or more. And just, I don't know what possessed me, but I went over to northerntool.com, and lo and behold, I found a 60-gallon version of this with the same compressor, same engine setup, 18 and a half CFM or thereabouts, and the pressure matches this one, so that the little blow-off valve over here won't pop off and we'll have problems with it. So basically, I'm getting, for $1,000, I'm getting a 60-gallon version of this with all the same specifications. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to plumb it in with this, so that I'll have the 60-gallon tank on the new compressor and the 80-gallon tank on the old compressor in tandem. We'll have plenty of air for air tools. We won't have any problems. So I'm going to go take my bride to Houston, feed her some lunch, drop by Northern Tool and pick up a new compressor, and bring it home.
Arriving at Goodson's Cafe, on right.
We gotta go out to the loading dock. Alrighty.
So you said he said we have to go around back?
Yep, gotta go around back to the loading dock because it's too heavy for them to try to pick up. They have to use the forklift.
So round back we go.
I told them I totally understood. It's kind of heavy. We're in. You like it, boy? Yeah. Actually, I think it's good right where it's at because my forks will be able to reach it this way. Okay. You're good at this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good day. You too. You smile for the camera. I've got a YouTube channel. Oh, even better. Now I'm famous.
Yes. Look up Possum Farms
Possum Farms.
on Yahoo.
Thank
Possum
you.
Farms.
Unfortunately, the unloading video, the SD card got corrupted, so I don't have any video of the unloading of it, which was fun because my son, who drives a forklift over at Lowe's for a living, had all sorts of fun with my tractor and the forks trying to get this thing unloaded. Let me just say it was sort of comical, but we got it done, and we got it in the barn safely. Didn't have any incidents with that. We got it set up, and I got it wired up, and we had a little bit of a problem. Let me show you what happened here. Well, when we got it off and we went to go and hook up the power cord to it, my first clue that something was wrong was I noticed this little cover. Little cover's got a dent in it, and the whole assembly was off to the side about 1/4 of an inch, which tells me that somebody in the shipping over to Northern Tool strapped this thing down the wrong way, or it got hit in the truck. Because if you see that little divot and dent there on the top, that's what it's supposed to look like, nice and flat, and they're not the same. This is the one off of my old compressor, and it's the exact same pressure switch assembly that's on this one. The second issue was after we actually got it started up and running, and it runs, and it fills this 60-gallon tank up pretty darn quick. I mean, less than 4 or 5 minutes, the thing was up to pressure, and should have turned off, and it wouldn't. It will not turn off because the pressure switch assembly in here is damaged. And this is just, I'm looking back to make sure I've got the breaker turned off. This assembly is supposed to be screwed down to this bottom plate, and I mean, look at that. You can actually pick it up and move it around, and you should not be able to do that. So this little black box, which houses the relays for the on-off switch, the relay for the pressure switch that turns it on and off when when it needs to for pressure, got hit from one side and crunched down this way, and this thing is broke. I mean, the plastic is busted, and I don't mind telling you, I was so pissed I was damn near throwing tools across the shop. And it's got pressure. Check this out. Went all the way up to 145, 150 psi, and the little blow-off valves, there's a safety valve here, and then there's a safety valve up underneath this assembly on top of the tank, and both of those blow-off valves went off. And if you've never been around one of these compressors, when the little safety valve pops off, it will scare the crap out of you. It is really loud, and it makes you want to run the other way. So it was after hours, Northern Tool was closed, so I went and kind of fiddled with it, and sure enough, the little pin, there's a spring-loaded pin on the little valve over here with a little copper line, and this is what senses the pressure. That's damaged. The plastic on this is damaged. The whole assembly is damaged. So I called Northern Tool. Justice is the store manager at the store that I went to, and he's the guy that loaded this up with the forklift. So he knows he didn't damage it, and I know I didn't damage it. And the only thing either one of us can figure out is it got damaged in shipping on the way to his store. So to fix this, You know, it was like, you know, I called him up on Sunday and it was like, dude, what do you want me to do? You want me to bring it back, or do you want to send me the part? And he was like, well, you can bring it back, but let me get with my service guys, because the service guys aren't in on Sunday. They'll come in on Monday morning and we'll get with them and we'll figure out what we want to do. And I told him, I said, look, this ain't my first rodeo. I have no problems fixing this compressor. I shouldn't have to, but I don't have a problem fixing it. Just send me this little black box with the cover and everything, and the pressure switch that sits over here on the side, the little needle switch, and we'll call it good. You know, get me those parts, I'll fix it, let's do it. So I called him back on Monday and got with him, and he had talked to the guys in the service department. They know what I've got, the exact model and everything. They know what switch I need, and they ordered it. And it should be in 5 days. 5 days. Can't control the shipping, and it's coming from Ingersoll Rand, and I've got to go by his shop to go pick it up, which means another hour and a half drive into Houston and an hour and a half drive home. But you know what? If I get exactly what I need to fix this unit, I'll be happy. I am so ready to get this thing plumbed in with my other tank and up and running like it's supposed to be. It's not even funny. But this is a customer service story. Northern Tool is standing behind what they sell. And I'm impressed at the quick response and the wonderful response that I've gotten from Justice over at Northern Tool at Willowbrook here in Houston. And, you know, if this is how they treat their customers, I'm definitely going to do some more business with them, because stuff happens. I can't blame Northern Tool for what happened. I blame whoever it is that shipped it to them. You know, and there's all different kind of freight companies. So, it's not their fault, but Northern Tool standing behind it is going to fix it. So, in 5 days, I'll do an update to this video where I get everything plumbed together and working like it should be. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit today and sharing my little nightmare. We will get this fixed eventually. Come back and see us.